Well, that's quite a life story. In some ways, kind of a sad one. The more they made money, the more troubles the family had. Leanne Rhymes and some people from SoCountry.ca. Georgia, you didn't get to get out that day, but we did the opening of Outback Jack's in Karamias, and Brenda was there, and you've got to know those people really well over time. Now, tell us about Gina and everybody. You've known them for a long time and how they operated Outback Jack's in rescuing horses.
Well, I can't say we've known them for a long time, but I mean, you get to know someone like Gina and you understand the passion that she has for what she does for horse rescue. And you can't help but, like, if you don't all of a sudden fall in love with her, you fall in love with what she does, because she just, drips that kind of enthusiasm and passion for what she does in the horse rescue. Earlier this year, she was in Rock Creek, her and her partner Dale, and they were reporting on some abuse in that area and posting things on Facebook and doing all sorts of things to try to rescue some horses, which aren't theirs. They're not their horses, but they heard about this and they're just so passionate about what they do. They had to jump in and try to solve an issue that they saw was a problem in their minds, and you just, their cost to travel down there and stay in a hotel and chase down all sorts of leads and try to get this fixed. And it's I couldn't do it. There's no doubt in my mind I couldn't do it. Not that I don't have the compassion for it, but I think I'd get to a point where I would just say, I'd give up. Right?
It must be pretty heart-wrenching too when you're someone who loves animals and you see a horse that looks in terrible condition, and not only the fact you've got to go get the animal, but I'm sure that the people that own them, even if they're not treating them well, they're still like, hey, those are mine.
Yeah, well, yeah, my wife shares a lot of the same kind of feelings that Gina does about animals in general, so anytime there's like an injustice or something that looks not right, it does kind of pull at certain parts of you, and you think, well, this isn't right. You shouldn't mistreat, and that's the bottom line. But, since we're talking about Gina, we should mention, there's a couple of stores open.
Right.
She's got one in Princeton and one in Karamias, and they're basically thrift used item stores, but money generated from the sales of items there help, them continue with the rescue programs. And there's a website, outbackjacks.ca, and she's on Facebook. Just look for Outback Jacks Horse Rescue or just Outback Jacks. And, like her page, follow what she does, and it's amazing what she does. And like I say, you can't help but get kind of sucked into her program when she talks about it, because she just does such a great job of telling you how important, like I say, how you get that feeling from someone, right?
Absolutely.
You're near someone who's and they're so passionate about something that you can't not just feel like, wow, I need to either be a part of this or I need to pay attention to what this person is saying, because they are really into it. And that's Gina.
I like the way they want to work to get the money too. Like she said, we're not going to take donations. We're going to go out and work for it. I like that too.
Well, I'll tell you, their office is, or their store is right across the road from our office on Bridge Street in Princeton. And, Brenda will attest, and agree with me that it's very rarely when they're open that there isn't activity there. I mean, they're hauling truckloads of stuff in there, and it's just amazing the donations they get of clothing and furniture and knickknacks and you name it that they sell out of their store. And Dale is always out there unloading a trailer and taking his truck somewhere to pick up stuff. I mean, it's an ongoing concern.
How are they making out in Karamias? I mean, they only opened on November the 1st. Is it working out well there too?
I haven't heard, to be honest with you, but it's a slightly different concept in that particular store. From what I understand, is they've kind of gone more of a clothing angle because of to address clothing concerns, kitchen items and things like that, to kind of address that particular market. So I think it was smart that another store opened, but also it was smart that they kind of marketed, what they were trying to do in each community.
Right, and it costs a lot to feed a horse.
It's amazing how much it costs to feed a horse or have a horse go to a dentist, or you pick a thing. I mean, I remember I talked to Gina about it, and I just shook my head at some of the numbers that she was throwing out, and it was like, oh my goodness, this is a full-time job.
Well, thank you for listening out there, Gina. I know you're dialed in and hearing what we're doing here on SoCountry.ca. I want to talk about the posse.
We will.
You're not going anywhere.
Okay.
George Elliott, SoCountry.ca, in from Princeton, telling us all about what's going on in the Upper Similkameen and Lower Similkameen.